Hi team, so we're currently looking at linear equations, so we're talking about plotting linear equations. So we're just looking at the start thinking part of the textbook. So we've got that relationships between two variables can be represented by a table of values. So we've worked with a table of values previously. So these are these guys here on the right. So it will give us an x value and then a y value for that given x value. So let's have a look and talk through it. So what it's saying is that if I've got x is minus 3, I have essentially put in a number, so I've got an in number, I've done something to it, and that's given me my out number, which is my y here. So just that sort of algebra equation that given this, I've performed some sort of change to it, and it's given me my y value. And that's simply what a table of values is. So it's asking us which is the independent variable. So for our independent variable, it's giving us a hint, and it's saying it's generally the first one shown. So that would be our x. So again, it's this in number. So we put in a number. We get to make that choice about what the in number is. Again, perform that mathematical change to it, and it will give us our out number. And that will be the dependent, because of course it depends on the number that we put in and the change that we make to it. So it's dependent on these other elements in the equation. So it's asking us for each of these three tables to list the coordinates and then graph them. So let's go ahead and do that for the first one. So remember that with the x and y, because we've got that x and y, I knew it was going to do that. Come back. There we go. Because we've got that x and y of course relates to our Cartesian plane. So x axis here, y axis here. Remember, we talked about this in class. Some of you are having trouble with remembering which was which. X, I like to remember, is this axis because it's low, it likes to stay down low. Y is the standing tall axis because of course it stands up tall. So let's go ahead and plot these. So where x is minus 3, so I'm going to say my minus 3 is here. My y is 4. So 4 I'm going to plot up here. So that's my 4. Then I move down to minus 2. So x is minus 2. My y comes down to 3. I can plot that there. Next up is x is minus 1. And my y is 2. Now, this isn't overly accurate. I'm just really doing a quick sort of jot. Now, where x is 0, my y is 1. So that means that it crosses the y-axis at 1. Where my, it's got rid of, there we go. So 1. Where my x is 1 now, my y is 0, so it crosses my x-axis at 1. Where my x is 2, giving me grief today, I come down to negative 1. So here, so x is 2, negative 1. Oh, stop. Okay, my x is 3, negative 2. And then we just simply join those up with a line. I've not drawn that accurately enough. Okay, so I've just quickly fixed it up. So we can see that we've got a negative gradient on this one. So it's a negative relationship. And it crosses over the y-axis at 1. So we know we've got a negative gradient and we cross over the y-axis at 1. All right, so you can, let's go on and plot the second one now. Okay, so I've pulled up a grid here that will help to make my plotting a little bit easier. Rightio, so grab our pen again and we will draw up some axes. Again, use a ruler, will work a lot better. So this is plotting the table of values from B. So we're going to go for x is -3. 1, 2, 3. So that's -3 there. And we're going up to y equals 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So -3 up to 8. So that's our first point here. All right, so then we come to x is -2 and y equals 3. So 1, 2, 3. So we're here. All right, next up, x is equal to -1 and y equals 0. Get our drawing tool back. All right, next up is x is equal to 0 and we're down to -1. Not having a good time with this technology today. All right, over to 1 and we've got a 0 there. All right, so already I can see that this isn't going to be a linear equation because they're not going to form a nice straight line. We've come back up into the positive again. So then at 2, we're going up to 3. And then at 3, we're going back up to 8 again. So now if I join all of these points up, I can see that I've got that U sort of shape. So we call that a parabola. So it's not linear, so it's not a graph that we are currently interested in. So that's a parabola. So that's got an x squared function in it. So that's not for us to be working out. We're just concerned with looking at linear equations at the moment. All right, let's get rid of this and look at C now. Rightio, so C, hopefully we've got another linear equation. I'm going to use my line drawing tool. Get this drawn up. Rightio. To be better. Okay. So where we're looking at, so I'm going to work in, so 1 to -3. We're down to -4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's our first point. Just here. Then -2, we're looking at -3. -1, we're coming down to -2. Okay, so far I'm liking it because I can see a bit of a relationship between each of the points, that they're changing on my y-axis by 1. So where x is equal to 0, my y is equal to -1. So that's my y-intercept. So that's where it crosses over the y-axis, is at -1. So then at 1, I am crossing over my x-axis. At 2, I'm coming up to 1. And then at 3, I'm going up to 2. And then I just join them together, like that. So you can see from that line that it is a positive relationship. It's got a positive gradient. So positive gradient. And the y-intercept is -1. When you're looking at these, the gradient will be determined by the relationship between x and y. So we will come in the next couple videos to working out what that relationship is and finding out the value of our gradient. But just at the moment, you can plot it and see that we've got a positive gradient, and you can actually determine where it crosses the y-intercept and the x-intercept by just looking at where x equals 0 and where y equals 0. Alrighty. Okay, so we're going to leave that video there now. We're going to go on and look at some more tables of values and how to calculate those out.